Good morning and welcome back to the Extra Point here on KLAA. I'm your host, Roland Rainey, and as always, joined with me is Jeremy Coleman from Indiana and Justice Gordon from New York. And we're going to get right into our quick snap recap of Week 5. Green Bay versus Cincinnati, 25-22. Green Bay pulls that one off in one of the most atrocious special teams, i.e. kicking fiascos, I think probably in NFL history. Look, Mason Crosby is one of the best out there. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. But the way he kicked the ball and missed, and then, of course, on the Cincinnati side, poor guy, he actually thought he won the game. And that bewildered look on his face when he realized that the ball did not go through the field goal post. Absolutely astonishing. But Green Bay pulls off the victory. They're 4-1 now. What do you guys think about that game?
Well, the Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams train just kept going all day long. Had something like over 10 catches for 207 yards. That connection is as hot as it ever will be. I expect it to keep going forward. And ironically enough, Mason Crosby had a game like this several years ago where he missed multiple field goals in a game and still somehow found a way to kick a game-winning field goal. So it's kind of ironic to me that history almost repeated itself for the Green Bay Packers this weekend.
Yeah, this game was as bizarre as it gets. I think it was something like 4 missed field goals in the last 2 minutes alone, 3 by Mason Crosby himself. I think it was, from a special team standpoint, it was just as poor as it gets. It was a frustrating game for both teams, but Green Bay was able to come out on top. Crosby was able to hit it when it finally counted in overtime, but Green Bay came out with the win. They looked to be on a roll.
Well, that is for sure. Now, let's move on to that Chargers-Cleveland Browns game. Look, yes, the Chargers win that game 47-42. A lot has been made of the quarterback. Justin Herbert is actually killing it. He's definitely in MVP form. But, when I look at that score, I don't really want to focus on what the score was. What I really want to focus on is the amount of points that was actually given up by both defenses.
Yeah, both games, both defenses were just total sieves on defense. Both teams were giving up big runs left and right. No one could hold up against Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Those guys ran wild. So, both those teams, we all know the explosive offense, but those defenses have got to shore up their run defense because eventually that's going to come back to haunt them once they get to the playoffs.
Yeah, this was a heavyweight bout from the beginning. This was pretty much Fury versus Wilder of the football world. It was blow after blow for these offenses. They both had it going. I can't say enough about this Cleveland Browns rushing attack. It is probably the best in the NFL with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, that 1-2 punch. And Justin Herbert, that was an MVP performance. He kept throwing it around, finding receivers. I think he had like 4 or 5 touchdowns on the day. So that was he's pushing for the MVP right now, right next to Kyler Murray. In my opinion, but it was a great game, and the Chargers look legit this year.
So then we move on to Buffalo and KC. Look, there's a lot to make of that game. A lot of eyes are on KC and how poorly they are playing right now. But let's be honest here. Allen is looking fearless. Buffalo on the defensive side, on the offensive side, even some special team plays, they look like the team to beat in the AFC.
Yeah, this is a three-horse race for the MVP right now. Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and Justin Herbert. They're both playing phenomenal. All three are playing phenomenal this year. They got their teams rolling right now. I really love the poise Josh Allen showed in the fourth quarter. Kansas City's defense and Steve Spagnuolo, they came after him with the blitz in that fourth quarter, and he kept getting the ball out quick, dumping it off, and getting the offense moving. So I was really, really impressed with Josh Allen. I think he has taken such big strides from his rookie years, even last year. I think he looks great. He looks poised. He's a much better passer than people give him credit for. And this Buffalo Bills team is legit.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that MVP candidacy because I'm going to go out on a limb this week and say Josh Allen is the front runner for the NFL MVP this week. So counteracting your Kyler Murray thing from last episode, buddy. But, yeah, what you really pointed out here was the Buffalo Bills defense is what's really setting this team ahead of others going forward for the playoffs and a push to the Super Bowl. they highlighted in that game that the Bills' defensive line almost runs 9 guys deep. When you have that type of depth and where they can all get after the passer, that is a very tough team to beat, especially when the offense is so explosive with Josh Allen directing it. So Buffalo Bills, I think, are the number 1 seed right now in the AFC. I don't really expect that to change a whole lot going forward. They are a very impressive team. I think they're only going to get better.
Yeah, when you got fresh D-line bodies coming in, I hate to say it, but a lot of offenses are going to find it very hard to beat these guys. Now, we're going to go out into our special London game, and I don't want to talk a whole lot about this particular game for a very specific reason. And we'll talk about this one later in the week. But let's just say the Jets lose this game to the Falcons 27-20. And I had a bet with my fellow colleague, Justice, who is a huge Jets fan, that the Falcons would take this game. Now, because he lost this bet, he has to do something pretty special. But I won't give it away. Tune in to the Extra Point on Facebook this week to see Justice explain why his Jets lost to the Falcons 27-20. Then we get the Bears over the Raiders 20-9. Look, there's been a whole lot of talk about Justin Fields, how they were going to utilize him, Matt Nagy being on the hot seat, but he ends up getting his first NFL touchdown. He looked poised. They put him in some great positions. Now, let's be honest here. The Raiders had a lot on their mind. They had a lot going on. But at the end of the day, the Bears pulled this one off.
Yeah, what's so impressive about this Bears win was the offensive line controlled the game. They were able to run at the Raiders all game long, and that was the big difference. Damian Williams and the other back were the rookie Khalil Herbert combined to go, I think, for over 150 yards. So not only did they keep the ball out of the Raiders' hand by controlling the time of possession, they were effectively picking up in the run game. Offensive line also did a very nice job in pass protection. There's only 1 or 2 times where, Fields kind of got hit, a little probably harder than he should have. But kudos to the Bears for coming up with a good offensive plan, and then the defense was able to get after the Raiders, too. They made it tough for the Raiders to run. Overall, very good performance by the Bears, and we'll see how they look moving forward.
Yeah, I was prepared to come on here this morning and kind of make a statement about the Raiders that I've made behind the scenes to you guys about me seeing, something in this team that I knew all along, and that was that they're not a contender, they're not a championship team. But I gotta go back to what my colleague Roland Rainey said, and that is I think they had a lot in their minds. What came out, I'm gonna leave that for the next segment. But I think that team had a lot on its shoulders. It had a lot in its mind. It was distracted. It didn't play up to the capabilities of what they are capable of. They look flat. I think Justin Fields, he looked good. He didn't look great to me, but like Roland said, he looked poised. He looked like he wasn't shook by the moment. And I think this was a good win by the Bears, but I think this was a loss by the Raiders, in my opinion.
Without a doubt, there. Bears take that 20-9, and what an exciting Monday night game we all got to experience. Ravens versus the Colts. The Ravens end up taking that one 31-25. Look, Wentz looked poised. He looked like he was pushing the ball very fluently down the field. Yeah, a couple of missed checks here and there, but overall, he looked sound. And then all of a sudden, here comes the Magic Man and the Ravens offense to include their tight end Andrews. Look, I know a lot is to be made of Lamar bringing his team back, but look at what the tight end did to help that cause and put them in the game-winning situation. Once again, the Ravens take that one over the Colts, 31-25. What do you guys think about the Ravens comeback in this game?
Yeah, I think this was – I'm going to kind of go back to what we've been highlighting these past few weeks, and it was special teams. They had a few missed field goals by the kickers, but, Lamar Jackson looked great. I think he really has improved as a passer in the pocket. I think it showed off in spades this past Monday. But the MVP of this game, and the reason they won this game, is Calais Campbell. If he doesn't block that field goal with about 2 minutes left, the Ravens lose this game, and the Indianapolis Colts pull off the victory. So I think Calais Campbell, he saved this game for the Ravens, but hats off to Lamar Jackson and what he was able to do for that team.
It was an impressive performance by both sides. The Colts came out and they were the bully in that game. For 3 quarters, they played a physical brand of football, which totally blew the Ravens off their game. I mean, they were punishing them in the run game, and then, like Roland said, Carson Wentz had a huge passing game for over 400 yards, but he was making the throws he needed to make. He had some very impressive throws, but you got to give Baltimore a ton of credit there. I don't know why they didn't speed up their offense even sooner than they did, because as soon as they did, you could tell the Colts could not stay on the field. They were gassed. They took advantage of the very inexperienced secondary of the Colts. They kept losing players to injury throughout the game. The Ravens were running wild, and I don't mean running the football, but that offense was humming. They were passing all over, and so much was made out of this. Let's try to get a 44th consecutive game with 100 rushing yards. But like Jackson said at the end of the game, forget the record. We got the win.
Yep, this is definitely one of those cases where you run away with the W and you don't look back. You take a couple of lessons and hopefully you figure some things out for the next game. Once again, Ravens take that one, 35-25 over the Colts. And that concludes our quick snap recap of Week 5. Now, we talked earlier about the Bears and the Raiders, and of course, that Raiders organization having a lot on their mind. And of course, the hottest topic right now is the fact that John Gruden has went ahead, resigned his position as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. There is a lot to be made of this situation. But for the audience out there, let's take a step back for a second. And let's understand where all this was generated from. This was generated from an investigation against the Washington football team. And because of that, there are some email threads and a trove of emails that were found during the investigation. Now, a lot of those emails got leaked. And they got leaked to some pretty powerful newspaper establishments. The Washington Post, the New York Times. So whoever leaked these emails out, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were setting on these emails, and they wanted Gruden out for, of course, apparent reasons. When you guys look at this situation, should the NFL not only continue its investigation of the Washington football team that led to all of these leaked emails, but should it do a broader investigation of all the folks that were a part of these email threads, which some may have been owners? What's your guys' take?
Well, you kind of highlighted it, Roland. How much farther does this really go? Because we've heard that, of course, John Gruden was the orchestrator of these emails, but who all did they go to? You know, I think that's a big point to be made. Was there someone on the other end that agreed with his views? I think that's definitely something that the NFL should pursue, but the NFL came out and said that they didn't feel the need to disclose any more emails that were of this nature. So I kind of question whether the NFL is telling us the whole truth there, because Bruce Allen, it was part of the reason why this investigation got started anyway with the Washington football team and the toxic culture he was creating there. So I just feel like there's more to this story still, but I question how much more we're going to get out of it.
Yeah, I thought Dominic Foxworth on Get Up a few days ago or this morning, I'm not really sure, he kind of hit it on the head about John Gruden isn't unique in this aspect. He isn't the only guy with power and status in the NFL that feels the way Gruden, kind of expressed 7 or so years ago. I think there are more people who feel this way. There are more people out there, so I think the NFL should do everything they can to investigate, to get to the bottom of this. It's pretty disgusting to me. It was pretty disgusting when I heard about it. It's something you don't want to see in society today. I think, whoever the NFL should really investigate and get to the bottom of this and hold all parties accountable. And as far as John Gruden goes, I think he shouldn't be allowed anywhere near sports. I don't think he should have any type of platform anymore. I mean, this is disgusting, and this is something that should not be out there in the world.
Well, to your point, Justice, at the bottom line of all of this, John Gruden will never get a job in the NFL again. And if he does, then the NFL shield will forever be tarnished from that. Now, when you look at the current scenario, and as we talked about these leaked emails, social justice last year and the year before was center stage for the NFL, especially going all the way back to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. And then, of course, this generated a major social justice, diversity, and inclusion message by the NFL to include commercials during the Super Bowl. Here we are. There are players with taglines on the back of their helmets, some on their shoes. There's taglines all over stadiums. If the NFL does not investigate this further, is the shield tarnished?
I don't know if I'd consider it tarnished because they did take action. Mark Davis, albeit it probably be a few days later than he should have. I'm of the opinion Gruden probably should have been let go on Friday when the first initial story came out about the racial slur. I mean, Mark Davis ended up taking appropriate action. I feel like the league office gave him the emails and the ammo to do it, and then he was let go. So I think it was a blemish that will be erased over time. The Buccaneers already took him out of the Ring of Honor for their Super Bowl win. So I think give it time, and people will almost kind of forget about John Gruden. That's the way I kind of feel it's going to be going forward.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL is going to be tarnished by this at all. I kind of agree with my colleague Jeremy. I think it would definitely be a blemish, though, if the NFL kind of sweeps this back under the rug. And I kind of feel strongly about this. I just think John Gruden has no place on any type of platform anymore. We see a guy like Colin Kaepernick, stand up for police brutality and just take a knee and at halftime during the national anthem, and he gets exiled from the NFL. And you have a guy who's sending emails and he's saying just disgusting things about people that shouldn't even be said. And it's kind of, I just don't like it. It really turns my stomach just thinking about it. But this is something the NFL needs to take seriously and really dig around and find whatever they can, because just like you said, Roland, they have these players with slogans on the back of their helmets and stuff like that, and they're pumping out stop this and that, and then they have guys inside promoting something entirely different. So this is something the NFL definitely needs to take seriously.
So I'm gonna say something on the record here. I will feel that I'm being very genuine in this comment, and I'm dead serious. What Gruden did was atrocious. A lot of the comments, of course, I know some people are saying, oh, it was a long time ago. You know what? There's no statute of limitations on racism. There just isn't. Or any type of hatred. That there just isn't. With that being said, there are a slew of folks in these emails. And to Jeremy's point, I don't think we will get to know everyone who was on these email threads and who was potentially maybe agreeing or in responding back to these emails. With that being said, Gruden was highlighted. Gruden is going to be the fall guy. Matter of fact, he is the fall guy. I guarantee you, if you peel back the onion, you will probably find multiple owners, maybe some staff members, maybe some ESPN colleagues who might have been on those emails, and they would have to be held accountable.
Yeah, Roland, I mean, one of the things that I was really interested to see is, such a big deal was made out of these emails going to Bruce Allen. Does a Donald Sterling-like type situation that happened in the NBA just a few years ago come out and happen to a guy like Bruce Allen or other owners in the league? That's why I was very curious to know how much further they were going to go with this story. Like you said, I just don't know if we're going to get anything else out of it.
We'll see how far the NFL takes this. Are they going to do a deeper investigation? Or are they going to share any more of these emails? Are they going to be forced in some way to protect the shield to identify more folks who were involved in these conversations with Gruden? It's definitely a sad state of affairs because the season had so many exciting things going on. So to have this come out to kind of, tarnish the season right out of the gate just in week 5 is not a great way for the NFL, especially as they're promoting social justice messaging. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to The Extra Point here on KLAA with my fellow colleagues, Justice Gordon from New York and Jeremy Coleman from Indiana. I'm your host, Roland Rainey. Now, we're going to switch up here and talk about these rookies because there are some rookies out there that are absolutely on fire right now, and they are doing some great things. And then there are some less than stellar rookies that you would expect not to perform well, but then there are some rookies that are just stinking up the farm. So let's go ahead and start with some rookies that are really impressive right now. Justice, give me a rookie that's impressive to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to a name we've kind of mentioned before on this show, and that's Jamar Chase. During the offseason, you had fans, you had media, you had everyone with a phone tweeting, coming at this guy because he was dropping balls in games, because he was dropping balls in practice, and really, tarnishing his name before he even gets to start his career. And look what he's doing with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll be the first to admit, I kind of trashed the Bengals on draft night, not picking Penei Sewell instead of Jamar Chase to protect Joe Burrow. But Jamar Chase has been everything Joe Burrow needs. He's been that consistent receiver that will help a guy like Joe Burrow, even with Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins on that roster. He's played phenomenally. He's exceeded expectations so far, and he looks like a superstar player. So I couldn't be happier for this kid.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Big men just don't get enough credit. The guy I'm highlighting, Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle out of Northwestern. A lot of people thought he was going to have to move inside in the NFL. He has proven those doubters wrong. He is the starting left tackle for the Chargers. Yes, those Chargers, with Justin Herbert leading that historic attack so far. They've been dynamic in the passing game, even better in the run game than I thought they'd be. He is a big reason why the Chargers are having so much success, and he's doing a great job protecting Herbert's blind side.
Hey, I tell you, for me, it's the one and only Michael Parsons with the Dallas Cowboys. What he has proven is that a rookie of his size and stature, his speed along with his strength is something to be reckoned with. And, it's been a while since we've actually seen a DN who really are even in the linebacker core on the defensive side of the ball. It's been a while since we've seen a rookie who's been that impactful to a team. He set the stage. I mean, he's catching a lot of limelight out there in Dallas, not just because of his play on the field, but his work ethic. And that's one of the things I really like about this kid. He came in as a rookie, but he definitely transformed his abilities from the collegiate level to the NFL almost seamlessly. And he's done, a wicked bang-up job. Now, I would tell you a rookie that I'm very disappointed in is Trevor Lawrence. Now, before you all out there the fans out there listening in, before you say, well, wait a minute, this guy's been playing exceptional. I agree. He has played exceptional football. He's had some solid games. Here's where I have my problem with Trevor. You were handed a franchise on a platter. They basically looked at you and said, not only are you our guy, but you're our guy for the future. And his attitude in post-game commentary and his press conferences, his sideline demeanor, I don't know what's going on in the locker room, but from my research, it appears that there's not a voice coming out of him to lead that team, to energize it. When an organization is handed to you, you grab the baton and you run with it. You do not sit back and try to wait this one out. I just think it's going to take some time for him to learn it, but he definitely has been disappointed in that aspect. Jeremy, give me a rookie that's been disappointing to you.
Yeah, a guy that's disappointed me a little bit with considering how high he was drafted by the Dolphins at 6 is Jalen Waddle. I really expected him to be able to come in, Miami to utilize his speed more. He hasn't really done a whole lot to this point, He only has, he's only averaging a handful of catches a game. he just hasn't been that impact I thought he might be on this offense. Yeah, Tua's went out and Jacoby Brissett, quarterback play hasn't been great so far, but I was just maybe expecting a little more this early in the season from Jalen.
Yeah, I've been blasted these last few weeks picking the Jets in a few matchups for our weekly pick'ems. So I'm gonna kind of reverse that trend there and hit on a franchise guy right here in New York, and that's Zach Wilson. Look, he's played pretty terrible to this point. I think everyone can agree on that. He looks exactly like a rookie quarterback, usually is. He's frantic. He has happy feet. He's late on these timing throws. He's trying to force throws here and there, trying to make the big play instead of settling for the safer throws. And he's really struggled these first few games, clocking 4 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in just 5 games. It's definitely been a struggle for him. I think he's going to be just fine, though. I think he still needs a little bit more time to get acclimated to the speed of the game. I think I would like to see the offensive coordinator work in a few more 3-step drops to get his timing down a little bit better. He seemed to, just really struggle with those timing throws, and I think with more reps and more opportunity, he'll get better at it. But he's definitely struggled, and he's definitely needs to be accounted for when we're talking about, disappointing rookies so far.
Well, I would definitely tell you, I think all 3 of the rookies that we mentioned definitely has showcased a sense of disappointment. Hopefully, those head coaches can turn those guys around to where they can have a very flourishing career. Ladies and gentlemen, you've joined us here on the Extra Point on KLAA. There's a lot going on, a lot of sobering moments in the NFL right now. We're coming off a week where we had the Urban Meyer fiasco. Now we have the Gruden fiasco, and who knows how deep that rabbit hole is going to go. I'm quite sure the players just want to get back to playing football. You got fans back in the stands. It's supposed to be this exciting moment for the NFL, and here we are dealing with the negative. So hopefully a lot of that is going to change. Once again, on behalf of my fellow colleagues, Jeremy Coleman from Indiana and Justice Gordon from New York, I'm your host, Roland Rainey. Everyone have a great week, and we will see you here once again next week on the Extra Point.